right, if you just joined us, this is still Enterprise Morning reaching you from our Lagos headquarters and Enterprise Television. It is. Now let's move to our main conversation for today, of course, which is about Nigeria's debt crisis. Nigeria has become the third largest debtors to the World Bank International Development Association IDA, with its borrowing increasing by 14.4% to $16.5 billion in 2024.
This surpasses India and reflects Nigeria's growing reliance on international financing to support its development agenda. The increase is attributed to President Bola Tinubu's emphasis on investing in infrastructure and human capital to drive economic growth.
Very true. But of course, Nigeria's rising debt profile is part of a broader trend among developing countries, which are increasingly turning to international institutions like the World Bank to finance their development goals. The IDA provides low-interest loans and grants to the world's poorest countries.
Nigeria's growing borrowing highlights its ongoing development challenges and need for external financing to support economic growth and poverty reduction efforts.
Other significant IDA borrowers include Bangladesh, Pakistan, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Vietnam, which collectively account for 63% of the IDA's total exposure.
Nigeria's increasing reliance on international borrowing will likely remain a key area of focus for policymakers and stakeholders as the country navigates its economic growth and development trajectory.
Very true. All right, let's get into the crux of the matter here. Joining us virtually all the way from Saitama in Japan is John Akirile. He is a public affairs commentator. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Thank you so very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you so very much. So, with us also in the studios to do justice to this and more, we have legal luminaries, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, Barrister Law and Public Affairs Analyst, and Barrister Evans Ufeli, Barrister Law and also Public Affairs Analyst. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And welcome to our studios today.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. All right, so let's get into this matter proper. John, I would love to start with you. Of course, there you have it. Nigeria is the third in the list of countries with the highest debt in Africa. Tell us, what do you think about this?
Good morning once again to our viewers. I think hearing this news, for me, it saddens my heart this morning, and I'm very, very sad. Looking at the fact that with a new year of news from our policy is not news that even, that brings joy or smile to your faces. And our leaders certainly do not even care about it. Hearing from the headline this morning that we are among, the highest borrower of funds from IMF and World Bank, is something that baffles me. Because if I even ask you, where did all this money go to? How evidence to show for all of our borrowing? And at this point in time, all across all political divides, we must tell along with a country called Nigeria. And the question is what exactly is our problem, and how can we stop this problem? Because this problem is our own problem, is man-made, and it's, as such, there are solutions that we call conversation and ask ourselves, is this the kind of country we want to be proud of? Is this the kind of country we want to, be will to, you and I will be happy to wave the flag after the shock of going? It doesn't tally. If you look at the amount that have been borrowed, and look at the infrastructural development in Nigeria to the earth, and that distance is millions of kilometers. And so for me, that all Nigerians, who want the country to be well, should have frank conversation and ask ourselves, what is our problem? And what can we do to fix this problem? And part of the problem that I think, in my own opinion, is the fact that we have wasteful spending. And then we also have this issue that we feel if my person is the one that is there now, it can waste the money. But we forget that the more money we waste, the more life that we are wasting. My brother, if only people will understand that the effect of bad governance destroys generations yet unborn. Gone are those days you blame your slave masters for slavery. But the slavery you are inflicting upon yourself and generation yet unborn as a result of bad leadership and incompetence as it speaks is even more dangerous. And that is where I shake my head for my country, Nigeria. I hope we get out of this.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's get into the studio and over to you, Barrister Philly. In a country where we have a profound leader who has been placed in the World Trade Organization as one of its Director General, and she has over 30 years experience, and the current president and its cabinet have not thought it wise to invite such intelligent woman to come sit and have a discussion, a way to actually move this country forward. What is the hope of Nigerians?
Well, this president is not into any kind of intelligence or inviting anyone to come and show intellectual dexterity for the growth of Nigeria. That's not the priority of this president. I mean, he has not said so, but it's written all over him. We don't have the kind of leaders. As Nigeria is currently constituted, it's on reverse gear. The kind of leaders you have are not the ones that are interested in projecting the image of this country. Forget about what they tell you. Look at what they do. When you are going for a conference abroad, you take a jet, you pack people and food. You are not a serious human being. You are not able to take a decisive decision on NNPC. Look at what is going on, NNPC. Okay. What infrastructural development are we talking about now? Look at the issue of the subsidy. When you put all this in perspective, you discover that the country is not interested in people who know too much. That is why they don't like Rewani. They don't like him. They don't like people who come with a lot of economic theories to project. The NBA, Nigerian Bar Association, thought it wise to bring the same woman we talked about, who came and spoke to the nation as to what the nation should do in the short term and in the long term to come up with a social contract, one that will be, expressed and written such that you're able to solve the problems of this country through proper means. But it does not matter how many intellectuals you have as Nigerian. You talk about Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. There are other people, there's additional. There are other very intelligent people who could have put things together. You could have an economic summit to look at the way forward. In very civilized countries, when they have economic issues like this, what they do is to get all the professors, all the ones that are schooled in that area, okay, give them a task to provide a blueprint as to how they can solve this problem in the long term, in the short term, and the middle term. And then they will track. Now look, the size of Nigerian economy already shows that it will have to borrow if it must succeed. It will have to borrow if it must succeed. Okay, but the question is not even the borrowing. The question is the money you borrow, which you claim that you are using to increase infrastructural development, that ends in the pockets of people. And these people, you don't prosecute them. You understand? Look at the former president, for example, who borrowed money to construct railway from Nigeria to Maradi. There's a railway and there's a road. Both of them, you only have 30 kilometers inside Nigeria. Imagine borrowing money to construct road outside your country. So we've had disasters. People like Buhari and the likes. Nigeria don't have the political will to go after their leaders. In South Africa, the former president is in prison now to speak. because of the policies he understand, he undertook while in office. So what stops us from, going after our leaders? Before Buhari left, he cleaned the coffee. In fact, he cleaned the whole place so that there's no resources left. And he used our crude to borrow money ahead. I just got information now that the Four Seal Agreement is a 10-year agreement. That is supposed to even outlive this current president. It's a classified information. Now, when you have that on one hand, then you now have the current president that is not even looking at anything the former president, whatever is on paper or not on paper, just doing a different thing entirely. And then you have ministers who are hailing him, some Nigerians who are hailing him that is doing the right thing. So at the end of the day, the citizens' lives are mortgaged. Because as we speak now, you have an NNPC that's a behemoth. NNPC can determine whether the lives of Nigerians will be okay, will be battered, or will be completely destroyed. Only NNPC can do that. You know why? NNPC only as an entity can determine that. If we continue this way we're going, where we are queuing every day, we sleep in the filling station, we're unable to get fuel, the economic losses, and when you put all that together, then the price of goods in the market. Now, there was an increase. NNPC came out and said they did not increase it. Okay? But whether they increase it or not, the influence is already in the economy. Now, is it the market woman that is selling vegetable that you want to tell that they did not increase it? When she spent ×2 to go and get those vegetables as against what she does before. And she will have to add the running cost on the price. Or are you going to tell those who are, they will tell the red newspaper, they heard in the radio, on radio. So what are you going to say? So we could have avoided all this if only the president was, thoughtful from the beginning. Now he's finding it difficult to even reverse anything. It's not even possible any longer to go either ways. Now, instead of you to solve the problem, and now Dangote is now, refinery is working. Instead of you to tame NNPC, because they are going to be the sole distributor of this thing, they are going to create another chain of bureaucracy, another chain of wholesaler, retailer, consumer, and at the end of the day, you are still going to buy the product as high as you were doing that before. So if you put all this together, you just find out that not only did we need, because NNPC has also opened what you call open bidding for the Port Harcourt refinery and the Warri refinery, right? Now,
no, for the Kaduna refinery.
Kaduna refinery. You know, looking at the fact that the first indigenous refinery, private indigenous refinery that's working, NNPC is to buy everything. Is it the same message we are passing to those coming, or those who are going to take over to refinery? Anything they produce, it's NNPC that will buy it, and all that. So when we keep creating monopoly, we keep creating discordance. The economy is not going to grow. The only part of the economy that was doing well is the informal sector. Okay, which the formal sector now is destroying.
Yeah.
Because the artisan, the carpenter, all those people with technical skills, the market woman, and all those, when you use the price of fuel to determine their operation, they too will increase. Otherwise, ordinarily, these people don't need a government job. They have skills, and they are deploying their skill. Now, this economic skill is what if you keep the country stable, they will be able to deploy and sell their skills with the barest minimum. But now you're not doing that.
All right. We have so much to talk about. And of course, Barrister Vance talked about transparency. Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, when it comes to transparency of an institution, usually auditors are invited to look into the books and ensure that things are done right. And of course, measures are being put in place. And when it comes to auditors, the best auditors you can ever imagine are accountants. The president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is an accountant from Chicago State University. Why is it finding it very difficult to ensure that the books are looked into and all measures to ensure that things are done right are still struggling?
Yeah, because you see, when you have a target and you have a mindset, that is what will drive you. And what is driving the president now is about politics. It's about how to retain his position as president, how to sit tight and control everything. That's why we are seeing what we are seeing here. I have always been saying it, that we don't lack people with capacity in this country. I will not sit here and say those in government don't have the capacity. They have, but they are using the capacity in a different way for their own personal benefits. People will come and say there are cabals. There are people who are putting them into ransom. I want to disagree, and I've always been saying it, that I don't believe there's any cabal. If you are saying there's a cabal, and those cabals are holding the president to ransom, then the president is not qualified to be a president. That means he doesn't have the capacity. He cannot control anything. That's the meaning. And if you are saying somebody is a cabal and he's not holding the government as the president from doing what he wants to do, it shows that the president is not doing anything, not because he cannot do anything, but because what those people are doing are in line with his interests.
But they are the ones that brought you to power.
Those who call cabal today, let them do things that will undermine the presidency, the power of the president, or let them do things that will take the president out of his seat and see whether or not the president will not react against them. But so what we are saying as an excuse to say cabal is that even if let's even admit that truly there are some cabal that people are holding him to ransom or whatever, I want to say that look, if that is the case, that person in position of president is not qualified if you allow anybody to hold you to ransom.
But certainly you are a politician yourself, and it's strange that you're saying this. When it comes to elections, no one is an island, right? You need a community to back you up. You need people, influential people, to support you financially, morally, and otherwise. And eventually, when you sit at the helm of affairs, these people pull their strings. These are the people we call the cabal. So when
let me sorry for cutting you. When you talk about when you are seeking for elective office or whatever, is it these people we are talking about? They don't even vote. The people who gave you the mandate, according to us here, they gave you mandate, the people's mandate. Don't they have? Are they not supposed to be the cabal?
But we know that's not the
so
trajectory.
So the people should be the one to determine what and what you should do. It is not. So what I'm trying to say is that look, the government is not running based on principle of democracy. That says is the government for the people, of the people, by the people, and for the people. The government they are running is the government for themselves, by themselves, and for themselves. No matter what they see or what they think they have as program or as their own plan is what everybody must accept.
Okay.
Whether even if they are bringing a program and you people are not satisfied with the program, as long as they are interested in that program, we must follow it. Whether it's working or it's not working. So government is not running in that manner. Government is not a business. Because most people you call experts, these people are privileged experts. They are the ones that hold on to this crisis.
Why did you use the term privileged experts?
Because they are privileged. Because some of them are even because they are known. There are people who are not experts or who are experts. They do experts that are not known because they are not popular.
Okay.
These people who you call experts, the privileged ones, they are the ones that hold on to this problem. Because I know me that I was not an expert in the oil sector. I am just a lawyer. I was saying it from the start, even before now, when PIB was in that this is not the solution to our problem. That law is not our problem. They were coming and say this PIB, once it's passing to law, all our problem in oil sector will be resolved. After it was passed, they came and say subsidy is a major problem. It must be removed. Once it's removed, we will save so much money. We'll be able to divert the money and use the money for other projects.
Market forces.
The market forces. So they sold all those things to us, and people bought it, and everybody was buying it. In fact, when the president came on the first day and said subsidy is gone, in fact, the majority of Nigerians were clapping. Except people like me that doesn't know what he was saying that time. But today now I know what people now believe that we were the ones that were saying that know what we were saying at that time. They were clapping. He hit the ground running. This is the kind of president we want. Yeah, he's both.
Hit the ground running.
Both in doing things that will affect your people.
All right.
So for me, what I'm saying is that look, as long as the president does not have the political will, is allowing his political interest to influence his decision. We will continue to be in this manner. And that's why you see, I've said this, that the problem we have in our sector is not subsidy, it's lack of accountability, lack of transparency. Because today, even if you have the DMD, DCMD or whatever, the group managing director of the
Mele Kyari,
NNPCL or NNPC, whichever, he will not be able to tell you, categorically, this is the amount of oil or crude that will consume a day in Nigeria, fuel that will consume.
he will tell you it's about.
This is the number of crude that will supply to so people. There is no record. If they have it, maybe in their own backyard or in their own drawer.
Right.
For Nigerians, we are not aware. As long as we are not aware, those things are not transparent. We will continue to have this problem we are having.
Thank you, Barrister Tunji.
We have been waiting for Dangote. Are not that again. I'm always on the minority side. They are at the end of the day. We are always at the right path.
Okay, thank you.
People are talking about Dangote. I said, look, don't rely on Dangote. Today now, Dangote refinery is indirectly NNPC refinery, because we have been told that NNPC or the government will be the one to determine its price. A private business, government will now be the one to determine the price that will sell. So in other words, the issue of market forces will not apply.
Maybe they have a memorandum of understanding.
It is whatever they think at the price that will not become. Because if I am a businessman, if I have a business, I should know how much I will sell my product.
Very true.
And it's waiting for people to determine what the price will be. So those people are market forces.
Thank you, Barrister Tunji.
Let me ask you, John. Debt is not a problem, really. Economists have come to say that when a country is has lots of debt, it's not a problem, but a proper management. But let's hear it here. United States boasts both the world's biggest national debt in terms of dollar amounts and its largest economy. In fact, it's stated here that the United States of America's government spending exceeds its income most years, and the US has not had a budget surplus since 2001. And we still have it here. The country where you stay, Japan particularly, when it comes to countries that are indebted to the IMF, Japan is about 214.27%. Now, when these big countries have so much debt, right, nothing is said about it. But when developing countries equally have the same thing, it becomes a big problem. What do you think is the issue here?
My brother, let me tell you frankly, when you mention all these countries, they have something in common. They have a working system. 24-hour power supply uninterrupted. They've recorded it for decades. Industrialization, they've got it. Check the rate of unemployment in this country you are talking about, and compared to that of our own blessed country. It's not the same. And so for me, if those ones are biggest borrowers, you are seeing developments in their countries. In terms of technological advancement, you are seeing them. In terms of researches and development, you are seeing it. So you see where the money is going. Some of them are into metaverse and AI now, machine learning. We are still doing accountancy and banking and finance. They left that one after. So when they borrow the money, they have foresightedness. They are seeing into the future. Some of them now are producing cars, electric cars. Here in Japan, some are actually looking at cars that will use water. So they are thinking fast. So the money in Sika, there is a debt to them, is a debt for the future where they are planning ahead. And so for them, it's not a debt. In terms of security of life and property, the countries you have mentioned now, security, one of the several countries you want is Japan. And so they put all of these resources. You see a police officer in Japan, you'll be like, you'll be happy. He's well dressed, well kitted up, driving a nice car. He sits on the way, he waves to you in the morning, greets you, he's not looking bitter, he's not looking frustrated. Do you understand? He's well paid. And so they have a working system. So when they borrow money, the people do not care about the money you borrow. They will just want to see on their street, can we see that, yes, our street is clean? Can we see that when they come to pick up our garbages, 4 o'clock, they are here 4 o'clock? Can we see that every aspect of our economy is working? Can we see that people are paying their taxes and the government is doing all that they need to do? So can we see in terms of education, in terms of healthcare, if you come to Japan, Japan has one of the best healthcare systems in the world. One of the best in the world, if not the best. Now, when you go to the public hospitals, Even our own best private hospitals cannot stand their public hospitals in terms of equipment, in terms of level of staff that they have, in terms of expertise. And so you can see where this borrowing is going into. In our own case, we have borrowed billions and billions of dollars. Where is the money? What happened to insecurity? You keep allocating billions for equipment. Where are the equipment? And so if we are speaking, it's because we love the country so much. We want to see, I'm a black man, I'm a Nigerian. No matter anywhere I live in the world, I'm still a Nigerian. And so if they will call me, they address me as a Nigerian. And that is why I'm always pained when I hear this story about my country. What should we do? It's simple. Our leaders must understand that the era of being greedy is gone. And they are not even ashamed of themselves. You know, when you stand with political leaders all across the globe, and look at their own lifestyle and ask yourself, look at the president of Ukraine. Even with the way that they are even having issues, their response rates are still quick. There are still good power supply in Ukraine. They are at war for over a year. In Nigeria, we are not fighting war. You cannot even record 12 hours on the power supply. What's the problem? And so for me, we must come to this one and say to ourselves, it's not working. And if it must work, all hands must be on deck. The first thing is that the process that brings our political office holders must be de-escalated, must even be destroyed, if you ask me. In a case where you want to contest for a governor, you have to go and bring 50 million naira to purchase a form. My brother, how much do you print out a form from a system at the business center? How much? So what is the value of a paper and ink that you have to buy that for 50 million naira? And so these are the structures of criminality that have enshrined criminality into the innermost part of our political office holders. So if I'm spending 100 million naira for my political party alone, aside for campaign funds, now another 100 million naira for campaigning, I spent 200 million naira. My brother, which work will you do in Nigeria as a salary earner that you will earn 200 million naira to go and pour into that kind of campaign? And so you see that structure encourages you to do all sorts of criminality for you to acquire wealth. And the aim of acquiring that wealth is for you to be a political leader. And so these are the structures that Nigerians must understand. This is where the problems are from. So we must de-escalate that structure.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, John.
That being said, okay, let me hear the floor.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, John. Barrister Evans
That's well said.
Ofili. Yeah, you are a barrister and you are well detailed in some of this issue. When he started, you said debt is one of our problems. You disagree that debt does not help to build a country. It's one of the issues we have. Now, at this point where we have amassed such amount of debt, what is the solution? We've talked about the problems. We've looked at it. So how do we navigate out of this current situation we find ourselves in?
Well, we must start to pay our debt. And that will mean we have to tighten our belt further, because it's not every time that we'll be begging international community to forgive us.
But we can still do that again
and
if
write
it's possible.
off.
See, like day, Olusegun Obasanjo style.
See, why you keep doing that? Why you keep doing that? Why you keep doing that? You are going to get to a point where you'll be stranded. Because when you now have that notoriety that you know how to collect money, only for you to come and beg in future that they should write it off, you are going to be in problem. You are going to be a beggarly nation. You are going to be crawling and all that. Many countries will disassociate themselves. They will cancel all reciprocity in bilateral agreements and all that. So they will not. It's not a good way. The only way we can show the world that we're a responsible country is to brace up to the debt and start to pay it. We have to pay those funds. You see, because I borrow money. I can call my account officer anytime with my phone. Say I need overdraft anytime. You know why they give me? I pay back. I will discipline myself to the point where I will pay back. That's on a small scale, an individual. On a national scale, we have to be responsible. The world has to see us as people who are responsible for their problems. We must pay this money. Because if somebody is owing money and you are asking another person, that this guy that is owing money, what do you think is the solution for him to come out from that thing? If it's me you are asking, with my background in the military and all that, and in my professional law, I cannot suggest any other way other than to say, go and pay back that money. Because even if you look at the Holy Writ, say it is the wicked that borrow and refuse to pay.
So even if it will cost you your arm and your leg.
Didn't you know to cost your arm and leg when you went to borrow it, money? And the reason we have to pay that money was also because these funds, 80 or 90% of these funds that we borrowed, were all embezzled by individuals. You have not punished them. You understand? Most of the projects that they use those funds for are moribund now. Okay? Because of insecurity and so many other things. So we have to make attempts, even if they have to write off any of our debt. They should see us serious and paying. Because some people service some of this and all that. Then those who borrowed money while they were president and the rest of that, and turned the whole thing to an embarrassment. And those who had agreements that did not keep, the Ogun State government, the one for the jets, and all these issues, they must be called to account. We must begin to punish and prosecute past presidents in this country that took decisions that were uncalled for.
Does the Constitution allow us to do that? You're a barrister yourself, so do you think the Constitution, the way it's written, do you think it allows for
no, you only
penalty?
It does. You only have yes. You only have immunity while you are in government. Once you are done, you are out. There's no immunity. Your immunity is withdrawn.
Oh.
So there is nothing in the law that said that a past president cannot be punished. Just like in South Africa, where yes, a past president can be punished if the past president was a thief, or if he mismanaged the economy and all that. You see, that is why countries like China will continue to be ahead of us. If you steal government money in China, they don't even, they take you to the stadium. The stadium, and they behead the person.
To the gallows.
So that's what they do. So if we don't put measures in place that will ensure that, see, we can Nigerians, you see, this analysis and it's affecting me. It's affecting my mental health. It's affecting me because every day we talk to a point where government should see things and do things the right way. They will turn around and start to do the wrong things. We're saying Dangote Refinery should function. And once it's functioning, that at least those funds we spend exporting and importing crude will cut it off. We're saying all that, not knowing that we're not saying anything. We're not saying anything because what these people have planned on ground, what they have on ground, will shock you.
All right.
So we're all shocked.
Very true. Very true. Barrister Etunji Abdulhamid, John said something very so important. He said, if we must get it right, we have to collapse the structure that brings these people who has caused this problem that we have today in Nigeria. And one of the things he talked about was a situation where someone comes up to say he wants to vie for election. He's told to buy a form for 50 to 100 million naira. That's just for form. Now, to run the elections itself, you need another pool of funds to do that. You have experienced this before. I'd love you to help us make sense of this. Where and how do you think we can collapse the structure? Is it possible to collapse the structure in Nigeria? From experience.
In fact, John made so many valid points, and I salute his courage and his intelligence. I think, you see, those in government today, they know all the problems. They have the solutions. They know the solutions, but they will not do. You see why they up that price of the form or whatever? Is to screen.
It's to screen.
It's to screen people. They just want to admit everybody into it. They have a caucus. Once you don't belong to the caucus, or once you are not admitted into it, you will not be allowed to. And that's why you see people would do everything, sell everything he has to buy form. Not even, he's not ready to come. He's not prepared to win election. You see some of the ministers today that we see in this cabinet, 3 or 4 of them are presidential candidates. They were deliberate. That's what they want to achieve. So that was even to say 100 million to prosecute the election.
No,
100 million.
100
But
million.
in Nigeria,
Maybe that's local
in
government.
Nigeria, anybody want to prosecute presidential election in Nigeria, that will not spend up to a trillion. That person is not serious. You will not even win. Seriously speaking, you must spend.
And you can spend that and still not win.
Of course, I know how much you spend in the last election. I know how much in the last 2 elections that we lost in my state. I know how much that went down. If I say it, people will say, you see. So, and it's not the system, like you said, is it. Sometimes this money is not for bribing.
Okay.
It's not for bribing, like you said.
The people contribute, right, to this because they come to ask for when you are coming to talk to them.
That's what I'm saying.
They say go and see the Oba. Go and see.
If you are sitting a political elected officer and you want to win election again, and that's why you see the National Assembly members, they want to justify their humongous pay. They will say they have an advantage that if you want to return, you must service people at home,
stakeholders,
and they must use our national money to service their own personal purpose. So the issue is that people see you being a political elected officer as for yourself. And before you get there, so since you are going there for yourself, that's what people
come and settle us.
You must pay us and settle us before you go. So they see it as you are not serving them. You just want to go and make money, and they've accepted it. Go and make money, but you must also pay before you go there. And that's why you see Nigeria will say he is the most qualified candidate, but he doesn't have money, and they will ignore him and go for that one that has money, but he's not qualified. That's why you see that's why you see these people. They know that if they build a health center, if they provide quality education, if they do this and that, people will appreciate it more. The airlines, but those that vote more because the airlines don't vote.
And they
don't even have voting.
They don't have.
I don't vote. I don't have interest in it. It's a waste of time. And they will be the one the next day to start coming and start talking.
But
what I'm saying is that
yes.
The talking about what he said about the system is not that is the institution. We must start from the electoral process. When we get it right and let people who seem to have the mandate of the people correctly, because those people who are there today now are not. It's not about the mandate of the people. When people come and say, my mandate. It's not any mandate.
But I think the people are contributing hugely to this dysfunctionality.
No, I think it's the reality.
Yeah, because yes,
I know what I've been doing. I know what I expect when I was running my election in 2003. I know what I'm still doing. In fact,
yes.
I'm not like an elected officer. In fact, I'm like a government. Daily.
You have to service your.
Daily, you see genuine people are not genuine. You see and that's why today I won't lie to you. If you call me with number I don't know, I will just be looking at it. I will just be looking at because 10 out of the unknown number that you pick.
Many of them talk to one.
It will be.
Many of them talk to one.
Many of them actually talking representing them.
It will be. And unfortunately, those they voted for, they can't even access them again.
Yes.
They've changed the numbers
because they paid them. They pay for the service, and that's what they deserve. You see, we deserve the kind of leader that we got into. And that's why I say that until we change the system, where nobody can become somebody in terms of when you want to contest election, whether you have money or not,
you should be able to
contest and win. If following it means that people gave senior advocate of masses contested an election in this country, you think the people gave him that abbreviation, what they call it, appellation, senior advocate of the masses. In other words, that means a confirmation that this man is for us. He contested the election, he didn't get up to 1 million votes.
They gathered his vote and threw it out
from the same people.
They didn't count his vote, sir.
So the people deserve the kind of leaders that we have now. And it's unfortunate that we are giving this day. And they know us too well. That all these things they are doing, our debt today is at March 2024, which we are told is 121 trillion. Before 2015, our debt was just a little above 11 trillion. And these people in government today were complaining. They were moving from one station to another to say, why can we be incurring this kind of debt? What are we using the debt to do?
Like Mohammed.
Within how many years now? This 11 trillion I said was since 1999. No, after the write-off of debt. 11 trillion. That means almost about 15 or so. I mean, less than
And then we
9
had
years.
reserve too. Today we don't have
Less
reserve.
than 10 years, we have incurred a humongous amount of debt. 121 trillion. And if you look at the grant now, how much if you calculate our total budget for the entire 8 years of President Buhari and this one,
And GDP.
it's not up to that debt. And yet, we are not seeing anything.
Very true.
Thank you,
So
Barrister
for me,
Tunji.
it is the God we are not doing enough to hold government to account, and they know all too well that look, like this first capacity we are going through now, they know that look, just give them 2 weeks, they will talk, they will adopt. And that's all.
Thank you,
They
Barrister
will adopt it, and
Tunji.
then they will
Thank
move on.
you. Over to you, John. It's time to take it home. Can we get your parting shot?
Thank you very much. For me, I would like to say that our political league should have mercy on generation unborn. It is in this same country called Nigeria that they had free education. They were eating good food in the classroom in same Nigeria. They were having jobs. They even have private cars attached to some of those jobs. And those cars were brand new cars in this same Nigeria. I think we should even start telling our stories so that the younger generation will understand that Nigeria, before even in terms of education, those people you call Europeans, the Americans, the British, we are coming as an
Yes.
exchange students in this same Nigeria. So how did we, over the years, by ourselves, destroy the country we claim we love? If truly we love Nigeria, then as a leader, as a political leader, even from the little one as a counselor, know that you must serve the people, do it right, and then let's make Nigeria work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Barrister Pansufeli, is it ever possible to press the reset button?
It is. You know, when John was talking about the Japanese or the police in Japan, you know, I was ruminating, you know, over it. You know, I compared it to our policemen here. You know, not too long ago, I was stopped by the policemen too, and they asked me to give them bread because they saw bread in my car. And I was wondering, I went online, sir, federal government should go and address the police. Provide for these people. This is a time bomb. You see, we must get to a point where the elite will begin to redistribute the wealth of this country, whether we have debt or not. If we do not redistribute the wealth of this country, and we want to hold this country like this throughout our lifetime, we'll get to a point where even these people who will ensure that you must give them money before you contest election and all that, even those same people will turn against them. We're already getting there. You understand? So my take is that the federal government, the state government must join forces to rescue the average Nigerian from poverty. Poverty destroys everything. Once a man is poor, his priority is not civility. And these people that are also asking for handouts before they vote and all that, is poverty. That's a poverty, greed, and the host of that. Living in long deprivation. When people are kept in long deprivation, they can become anything. They become beasts. So that is why they ask you to bring up onto the point where you have nothing to bring again.
Thank you, Barrister.
Let's rescue Nigerians from poverty. That is the message.
Okay, over to you, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, your parting shot.
Yeah, why I want to agree with Evan that poverty is part of our problems. Poverty is not the major problem, and it's not an excuse for me. Poverty is a thing of the mind. Poverty is not about how much you have. It's about satisfaction. Look at people in government today. Are they not rich? Are they hungry? Are they in poverty? They are the ones stealing more money. They are the ones packing things that they don't need. So that is to tell you that it's not about poverty. It's about greed and selfish interest. You see some of them who are the National Assembly today, some of them who are the presidency today, some of them who are the executive are buying SUVs of 160 million. These are the people that have 1, 2, 3 SUV before they become whatever member of the National Assembly or member of the executive or whatever they are. They have these cars, yet they still want to collect. They see that thing as is my thing. I must collect it. They don't want to sacrifice anything. So sacrifice and that's what it's not only about the people in government. People who are not in government, they do worse than what people in government are doing. But the level is different. A man who is in office who will ask you to bring 1,000 naira before he moves your file. If he has the opportunity to steal to collect 100 million naira, he will collect.
You collect it.
So it's not about anybody. It's not about people because you are in government. No, it's about all of us. Our attitude is about greediness. Our mind is about selfishness. We think only about ourselves and cure or acquire things that we don't even need. Some of them will acquire those diseases. Tomorrow we will die. In fact, before he is being buried, he should have already selling his properties. They are already squandering everything. And at the end of the day, nothing works. So until we see Nigerians as one, as in you are in position of authority, you have this money. See every other person as you.
Very true.
You don't see them as but because we have leaders in this country who want to become a semi-god, we're having what we're having. So it's about greed.
Very true. Choma, Adams Oshomole, one of the front liners who was at the time, fighting for the good of Nigeria. Just at the end of the hashtag End Bad Governance protest, he said, why would a youth who is seen with an iPhone 14 and 15 claim he's hungry? It's one other thing that we keep talking about. If our leaders could say this,
what is the hope of the
That's seriously a very big
problem.
issue there. I would love to say thank you to John Akerele. Thank you so very much, sir, for being part of our show. We truly do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to say a very big thank you to Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid. Thank you for your time and thank you for always joining us. And Barrister Evan Tufeli, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so very much. So, most importantly, for you watching wherever it is, you've done that around the world. I'd love to say a special thank you to you, and we truly do appreciate the time. But please do well to visit our site at enterprisetvnews.com for more information, and also like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebike.
And I'm Choma Okohe.
On behalf of the entire team of Enterprise Television, we'd love to say thank you for making it a date with us. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.